Hi, I'm Kanupriya Sharma from GMATQuizMaster and I welcome you to this video solution on a hard boldface OG question. Now, in this particular question, not one, not two, but three incorrect answer choices pull students in different directions. Reason? It is not just related to the answer choices but to the passage understanding as well. The main challenge in this question is not just identifying the main conclusion, it is understanding what the main conclusion says. Is the main conclusion trying to explain a circumstance given in the passage? Or is it just challenging an interpretation? That distinction makes all the difference. So let's break it down further and understand it better. Let's start with passage analysis. Since it has become known that several of a bank's top executives have been buying shares in their own bank, the bank's depositors, who had been worried by rumors that the bank faced impending financial collapse, have been greatly relieved. A very long sentence, let's break it down. So it talks about two segments of people. One is the bank's top executives, and the other one is the bank's depositors. So it is saying that since it became known that many of these bank executives have been buying shares in their own banks, since it became known, from that time, the bank's depositors and these depositors were worried by rumors that the bank faced impending financial collapse. So they were worried about the financial health of the bank. Since this time, however, they have been greatly relieved. So, since they came to know that these top executives have been buying their own shares, they have been relieved. Most likely, they will relate it to the financial health of the bank that, okay, if top executives are buying it, then maybe things are not wrong. They reason that since top executives evidently have faith in the bank's financial soundness, okay, so this is their reasoning that since top executives evidently have faith in the bank's financial soundness, those worrisome rumors must be false. So, this is the conclusion that they are drawing. So, if we look at it, there is an event happening here. This is a situation or an event that many of the bank's top executives are buying shares in their own bank. This is an event that is happening. Now, these bank depositors, who we know have been worried by rumors that the bank is going to face financial collapse, these people, these depositors, they interpret it in some way. They How do they interpret it? They think that this event indicates that these top executives, they have faith in the bank's financial soundness, right? This is what they believe is the reason, right? This is a kind of belief. The first one was a fact, this is a belief, and based on this belief they conclude, what do they conclude? That the rumors must be false. Now, this is a third party conclusion. We do not know whether the author agrees with it or not. But for sure, we know that this is a third party conclusion. Now, let's read further. Such reasoning might well be over optimistic. Now, this is the author's conclusion here. Author is saying that this kind of reasoning, what is the reasoning here? Interpreting it like this and then coming at this conclusion. So, considering that because top executives are buying the shares in the bank, it indicates that they have faith in financial health of the bank. They believe that the bank is doing well financially. That reasoning is flawed. It is over optimistic. Over optimistic is the word here. However, since Corporate executives have been known to buy shares in their own company in a calculated attempt to dispel negative rumors about the company's health. So, the author is saying that it can also be interpreted this way, that we know this is a fact given to us that corporate executives, who can be compared to the top executives of the bank, they buy shares in their own company with the intent to dispel any negative rumors about the company's health. So the author is saying that this may be the reason why the bank's top executives are buying the shares. It may not be this belief. So the author here is not commenting anything on this conclusion made by the third party. The author's conclusion, and let me highlight it, author's conclusion is that such reasoning might be over optimistic, is only about the reasoning that has been used here. The author is saying that this reasoning maybe over optimistic. It may or may not be correct. You are being very positive when you are thinking that, okay, the reason why these top executives are buying these shares is because they believe in banks' financial health soundness. That may not be the reason, because we know that such things happen. The top executives do buy shares in their own companies to dispel the negative rumor. So the important thing here is, as we discussed, the author is not commenting or giving their opinion on the conclusion, whether these rumors are true or they are false. They are not questioning this event, whether banks top executives, they are buying shares or not. This is a fact. They are not questioning this. They are questioning this interpretation, this reasoning, and presenting an alternate reason why this might be happening. So this is what the passage is doing. Now let's understand what the two boldface statements are doing here. Now, the first boldface statement here, several of banks' top executives have been buying shares. This is a fact, and it presents a situation or an event that has been discussed in the passage. One interpretation of this event has been mentioned here, how the bank depositors interpret this event, and the other one is the author's interpretation, that why the author thinks or what is the other possibility. The author is not saying that this is definitely not true, the first interpretation is definitely not true. The author is not saying that, but author is saying that it may not be true, and the author is presenting the second interpretation. The second boldface is that alternative interpretation, which helps the user, the author, arrive at the main conclusion that this reasoning might be over optimistic. And let me highlight it, this is the main conclusion here, that this reasoning might be over optimistic. The other conclusion that we have here is the conclusion by the bank depositors, that the worrisome rumors must be false. Now the first boldface is neutral towards the main conclusion. It does not go against the main conclusion. It does not support the main conclusion. It is a situation which has been discussed in the passage, and therefore it is not positively or negatively related to the main conclusion. The second boldface, however, has been used to support the main conclusion. So, with this, let's understand. Let's update our bridge table. So, if you were able to understand the passage logic as well as the conclusion properly, mark a tick here and proceed. However, if there is anything that you missed here, if there's anything you missed in the passage logic, or if you did not understand the conclusion properly, mark a cross here. And your reason for the same will go in this column. So if you missed reading something, if you missed interpreting something, if you missed connecting any part of the passage logically, then you can mention the same. Or if there is any other reason because of which your passage understanding was not correct, you have to mention that exact reason here. Next, as I explained, that understanding the conclusion here is very important. What is the conclusion trying to do? Is it questioning the conclusion which has been made by the bank's depositors, or is it just questioning the reasoning, or is it doing something else? If you understood it properly, mark a tick here, otherwise, mark a cross here, and again, give your reason here. With that, let's proceed to understanding what the correct answer choice here should say. So, as discussed, boldface 1 describes an event or situation which has been discussed in the passage. Now, the passage goes on to provide two interpretations of this event. One is the one given by the bank depositors. They consider that, okay, this might indicate that the top executives have faith in the financial health of the bank. The second interpretation, the alternative interpretation, is given by the author. The author does not challenge the first interpretation directly. It says it may or may not be correct, it may be over optimistic. Now, the BF2, it directly presents the reasoning behind the author's conclusion that why the reasoning given by the bank's depositors might be over optimistic. And it supports the main conclusion. So, with this, let's discuss the answer choices. Choice A. The first describes evidence that has been taken as supporting a conclusion. So, the first, which is this event, can we say that this has been used as evidence to support a conclusion? The answer is yes. We have two conclusions here. One is the author's conclusion, one is this third party conclusion. So the first event has been used, the bank depositors have used this event to arrive at this conclusion that if the top executives are buying shares in their own bank, it indicates that the rumors must be false. So, this event has been used as evidence to arrive at this conclusion. Now, please don't get confused by a conclusion here because, yes, the passage has two conclusions. So, this a conclusion can refer to any one of these two. Now, if this first event can be used as evidence to support any of the two conclusions, it is correct. And we know that this conclusion refers to the third party conclusion because this event supports the third party conclusion. It has been used as evidence to support the third party conclusion. So explanation for BF1 is correct. Let's read BF2. The second gives a reason for questioning that support. Now, what is the second boldface, which is this? What does it do? It questions that can this event really be used to arrive at this conclusion? Right. The reasoning here questions this logical step connecting event one with the third party conclusion. So this boldface does question the reasoning that has been used to arrive from this first event to the third party conclusion. So we can definitely say that this reasoning, that is the boldface 2, it gives us a reason for questioning this support. With support, the support that has been used to arrive at the third party conclusion, and that makes choice A correct. Now, if you rejected choice A, it's important to update your bridge table here. So question yourself, did you not understand the choice properly? The first thing is passage understanding and conclusion understanding, and understanding what the correct answer choice should convey. If you have a cross in any of these here, then definitely your answer choice analysis will not be correct. Now, if all these are correct, then you need to question whether you read and understood the meaning of choice A correctly or not. That is something that you need to understand. Did you not interpret it properly? Did you not have a correct idea of what it is trying to say? Did you get confused by a conclusion, or did you not understand the support that is being questioned? What is the reason exactly for rejecting this answer choice? And that is something that you need to enter here in this column. This will explain why you rejected the correct answer choice. With that, let's move to choice B. Choice B. The first describes evidence that has been taken as supporting a conclusion. So, as discussed in boldface 1, in choice A, the explanation for boldface 1 here is correct. It can be said to be an evidence that has been taken to support a conclusion, and this a conclusion here refers to the third party conclusion here. All right, let's read further. The second states a contrary conclusion that is the main conclusion of the argument. Now, this second boldface, does it state a conclusion? No, it does not state a conclusion, and because of this, it cannot be the main conclusion. It is not a conclusion at all, and because of the explanation of choice of boldface 2 here, choice B is incorrect. Now, if you selected this answer choice, go back to this bridge table, and again, if you have cross here anywhere, it means that definitely your answer choice analysis will be affected. These will be the primary reasons why you made a mistake here. If these were correct, it means that you either did not understand what choice B says, or you did not align it with what the correct answer choice should convey. So, analyze your understanding how you interpreted choice B and why you selected choice B, and update the bridge table accordingly. Let's move to choice C now. Choice C. The first provides evidence in support of the main conclusion of the argument. Now, does this event support the main conclusion of the argument? We know that this is the main conclusion, that such reasoning might be over optimistic, and we discussed that the first bold phase, it neither supports nor opposes the main conclusion, it just describes an event that has been discussed in the passage. So, it is incorrect to say that the first provides support for the main conclusion of the argument. So, description of boldface 1 itself is incorrect. Let's analyze the remaining choice also. We know that it is incorrect, but let's analyze the description of boldface 2. The second states that conclusion. So, we know that this second boldface, it does not state a conclusion. It provides the reasoning behind the main conclusion. It does not present the main conclusion. When this choice says that it states that conclusion, it means that it states the main conclusion. So the second boldface does not state any conclusion, and so it cannot state the main conclusion as well, and that is why it is incorrect. Now, if you selected this answer choice, it means that your understanding of the roles that the boldface, each of these two boldface statements is playing, that is incorrect. You were not able to identify the main conclusion, one thing. Secondly, you were not able to identify the logical structure of this passage, that this first boldface, it is not supporting or opposing the main conclusion. It is supporting only the third party conclusion. So your understanding of the logical structure here was incorrect. And that is what will go in your error analysis. So with this, let's move to choice D now. Choice D. The first describes the circumstance that the argument as a whole seeks to explain. So, as per choice D, the first BF1 is explaining a circumstance. Okay, we know it is an event, it is a situation. We can say that it is a circumstance that works, that the argument as a whole seeks to explain. So, let's understand, is the argument trying to explain the circumstance? So, what the argument seeks to do, or what the argument intends to do, is the main purpose of the passage. And that can be clearly understood by referring to the main conclusion. The main conclusion here is that such reasoning might well be over optimistic. So the passage here is trying to say that the reasoning that has been used by the bank depositors may be over optimistic. It may not be correct. The main intent behind this argument is not to explain this event. And that is why, because of this portion, this choice is incorrect. The explanation for BF1 is incorrect. The passage has mentioned this circumstance. It is discussing the two interpretations of the circumstance, but the main purpose of the argument, what the argument seeks to explain, is not this event. And that is why explanation of BF1 is incorrect. Let's read further. The second, that is BF2, gives the explanation that the argument seeks to establish. So again, this portion says that this explanation is what the argument is trying to establish. Again, it is incorrect. The argument here is presenting the second explanation as a possibility, that this is also possible. Since this also happens, that is why this reasoning might be over optimistic. The passage is not saying that this is what is happening. It is not saying that definitely the top executives are buying their shares to dispel the negative rumors. That is not what the passage is saying. But that is what is meant when you say that second gives the explanation that the argument seeks to establish. So the boldface 2 explanation also is incorrect here, and choice D therefore is incorrect for two reasons. Now, if you selected choice D, definitely you could have faltered in passage understanding, conclusion understanding, and that conclusion understanding here is very important because choice D is one of those choices that helps explain why it is not just, it's okay to just identify the main conclusion. That is not enough. You have to understand what the main conclusion is doing. And here, if you selected choice D, most likely you did not understand what the main conclusion here is trying to do. You thought that maybe the author is trying to say that this explanation is the right explanation and the explanation given by the bank depositors is the wrong explanation. And that is where you misunderstood the passage, you misunderstood the conclusion, and that is why, most likely, that is the reason why you selected choice D. So please analyze your own thought process and update your bridge table accordingly. Let's move to choice E now. Choice E. The first describes the circumstance that the argument as a whole seeks to explain. As discussed in choice D, this BF1 explanation is incorrect. Let's read explanation for BF2. The second provides evidence in support of the explanation that the argument seeks to establish. So, does this BF2 provide support for some explanation? No. Support for explanation? No. It provides support for the author's main conclusion. It does not provide support for any explanation. So, this portion is incorrect. Again, there is no explanation that the argument seeks to establish. The argument provides an alternative explanation which may also be correct. The argument is not trying to establish one explanation as the correct explanation of this event. And that is why it is incorrect to say that the argument is trying to establish any explanation. And for these reasons, choice E is incorrect. Again, if you selected choice E, your understanding of the passage logic and the conclusion was not correct. You did not understand that the passage as a whole is not trying to explain this boldface one, and you did not even understand the role of BF2, or maybe you did not read this choice clearly to understand that this is saying that BF2 provides evidence to support some explanation. BF2 is the alternative explanation. It does not provide any support to any other explanation. Plus, again, you did not understand that the argument is not trying to establish any explanation, and that's why choice E is incorrect. So please update your bridge table accordingly. Hope with this explanation you will understand what it means when the answer choice says that this is something that the argument wants to establish, or this is something that the argument seeks to explain or seeks to establish. What is meant by that? Again, the second learning from this question can be how to understand which conclusion is being referred to. When there are two conclusions given in the passage and the choice says a conclusion, that conclusion, how you have to understand that. Third, which is the very important takeaway from this question, it is not just enough to identify the main conclusion. It is very important to understand what exactly it is conveying. What is the exact idea that the author is trying to convey? Hope this will help you in other questions as well. Good luck.